Hello goddesses, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be very chill vibes. I just finished, meditating. I just took a shower. It's going to be just a very chill vibe day. I'm still drinking my coffee. But I had just pulled a card from the Goddess Power Oracle deck. I wanted to share a message for the collective energy, which it looks like is patterns. This is Elen, Goddess Elen. She talks a lot about patterning, and it's so crazy because I've been rewiring a lot of my own patterns. I didn't want to say toxic patterns, but a lot of them were not doing me any good. They were actually harming me more than they were doing me good. And I feel like Elen coming out to the surface to show myself and maybe others that are watching the patterns that we keep repeating. And it's so crazy because I literally had just talked about something very similar on my podcast, but I talked about how when you live in the past, you're very depressed. So a lot of times we repeat patterns because our focus in life is in the past and not in the present. And sometimes people are so focused in the future that they're always in a state of anxiety and they can never really enjoy what is actually in front of them until it's no longer in front of them, because they're over consumed with what if, how, let me do this, etc. In reality, life is ever changing. So even if you plan or have the best plan ever, things can just change in the blink of an eye. Like we've all experienced, obviously last year, everything that happened with the shutdowns and everything, and we saw life as we knew it just flip a switch. And so I think a lot of the times when you are too stuck in a pattern of focusing too much in the future or focusing too much in the past, that you stay stagnant and you stay heavy and you can't really flow. And so in order to break a lot of patterns, what I've done is, one, reflected. I reflected on where I am and reflected on my energy. Like literally I just sunk in and said, how do I feel when I do this? Like at this moment, what do I feel when I do this? Not, what did I used to feel when I did this? Or this used to make me happy. Or I think I'm really gonna like this. Instead of actually feeling what I was feeling at that moment. And sinking into what kept popping up for me. Like if I kept going to this job, was I continually getting anxiety? Was I continually feeling unworthy? Like why? What is happening there? And then I focused in on that and literally examined everything as it popped up instead of focusing too much on the other factors, focused on what popped up at this point in time. And so patterns are something that they say, what does it take, like 28 days or something like that to break a habit, which a habit is a pattern. It's something that we constantly do over and over and over again. And sometimes a lot of our patterns are passed down through generations. So sometimes we just do things because we saw our parents do it, or we saw our cousins do it, or it's just something that we do. Cultural, patterns happen. It's like, this is how I cook because this is how I was taught to cook. And some of those are great, but sometimes we do things and we don't sink into how it doesn't make me feel presently. For me, for example, my family, we ate red meat growing up. It was just what we did. It felt good. Like I ate a steak, you feel worthy enough to afford a steak, etc. It wasn't until years later that I noticed that every time I had a steak, even though it was a status thing, like a filet mignon, I always felt so sick after. And I'm like, presently, how do I feel about this? Do I still have the same core beliefs? Does it still make me feel the same? Why am I doing it? So when I found myself more in the now, I was able to see actually what was a pattern. Because when I was focusing too much on what it used to be or how it should be or how I want to present myself in the future, like when I was all scatterbrained, literally it felt like a scatterbrain, I noticed that my energy was everywhere. So I was never truly just still with who I needed to be. And meditation has helped a lot, but I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I love meditation. But sometimes I need to do it in the non-traditional sense, what feels right for me. Because again, a lot of times people think meditation is just like, you know, center yourself, open your heart, breathe, etc., which is great. And sometimes my body craves that and it's like what I need at this present moment. But there's other times where I just need to be mindful and be in a state of meditation while I'm walking, you know, at the park, while I'm doing other things, while I'm putting my makeup on. I know that sounds weird, but it's a very therapeutic sometimes just to be one with yourself. You're literally looking at yourself in your eyes, you're doing your makeup. And it's something that connects you with yourself in a weird, strange way. So I feel like there's so many times where I can incorporate for at that time what feels right for me. And a lot of times patterns are also kind of like, we wake up in the morning, we have our food, we go to our job, we do the same task at our job every single day. And for me, I started breaking out of the mode of patterns a few years back, and it wasn't until everything happened last year in 2020 that I really started to really break the mode of patterns. And it's so crazy because sometimes you have career patterns that keep popping up, and sometimes you have relationship patterns that keep popping up, parenting patterns that keep popping up, social skill patterns, makeup patterns, like clothing patterns. Sometimes people are like, I just go to this color because it's the only color I know looks good on me. And they form this pattern, but at the same time, does a part of them still want that? And I think for me, like asking myself those questions and being present with myself, and anytime I felt like it was too routine or I needed to break something up. I'm also Sagittarius moon, so I'm notorious for like breaking up routine. I'm able to like see that. But I also feel like if somebody keeps telling you something too, like, why do you keep doing this? Maybe take a look at that and ask yourself, why? Why? This is my own personal philosophy whenever it comes to patterns for me. I know that deprogramming or reprogramming into a different lifestyle, I mean, I feel like if you reprogram your mind to feel one way all the time, like I only want to feel bliss all the time, you have no contrast in your life. And so you're pretty much a robot at that point. You don't have ups and downs and love and hate and all of these things. Like people probably feel like, why would you want all of the emotions? But I feel like all of the emotions that we have are a gift, and it's how you view them and it's how you use them. Some of the best artwork or the best dance performances or the best songs were a result of an emotion that probably people don't want to have necessarily, but it gave them something else within their DNA. It shocked their system. It taught them a lesson. It helped them grow as a person. So it's so crazy because sometimes we get stuck in that pattern and then we fall into depression again. You're falling back into like old patterns, old ways of thinking. So I feel like to rewire yourself, for me, what my mistake was personally is I rewired myself into a whole nother pattern, and I got fully invested into a whole nother lifestyle, which on the outside looking in is a great thing. It's like, wow, you have a pattern now, you work out, you eat healthier. This is a great pattern to have. But at the same time, there's no contrast, and you literally do feel like a zombie. And I feel like for me, understanding that I just need to wake up every day and go based on my internal compass, go based on how I feel, dress how I feel that day, look how I want to look that day, embrace myself fully for that day. That's how I started to really break patterns, break them up, shake it up. I know like people are probably gonna like, I don't know, question or think like, why do you need so much diversity? But I feel also at the same point, like you're also going to inspire them to maybe break up some patterns, like subconsciously break up some patterns within themselves too, because they're going to see how you're doing it. Sometimes people have to be the one to take the initiative and to be the first one to go out there, like on the dance floor. Like, have you ever been to a party and nobody's dancing, but it's like that first person that gets on the dance floor, and it kind of like everybody kind of trickles in after, and then everybody's having a good time and everybody's dancing. But it takes that one person that knows everybody's going to stare at them dancing. People are probably going to be like, why are they dancing? Some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it, but again, that's contrast. But it does take that one person to be like, this is what I'm doing this, and I believe in myself, and I'm gonna have fun, and I'm gonna live the life that I want because this is how I want to live it. So don't be afraid to be the first one to break a pattern. I remember when I was younger and I told my parents I wanted to be vegan, I got so much crap about it. Like, people were just like, what? Like, pretty much like always making fun of me, like clowning on me and telling me like, oh, you should just eat lettuce, like, well, she just needs a block of lettuce and stuff like that when we'd go out to eat or we'd go through a drive-thru. It made me feel like so bad about it, but at the same time, at the time I was like, this is what I want to do. And then because I got teased so much, I fell back into a pattern of eating the red meats and just forgetting on what I wanted to do for myself, because that's what I felt drawn to do at that time in my life. And it's so crazy because a lot of times too with patterns, when it gets uncomfortable is when you know that you're breaking it. Just like right before, like you have like a caffeine addiction and you're giving up caffeine and you have like the worst massive headaches and you want to just go back to just having a cup of coffee, but instead you give it a few more days, all of those headaches go away. It's those withdrawal symptoms. So sometimes when you are breaking a habit, breaking a pattern, you will question, why am I doing this? It's gonna be uncomfortable, but know that when you're in that uncomfortable questioning, why am I doing this stage, is usually when you're about to like just get over that hump and have more control of your life and how you want it. And so I encourage you to get the inner strength to co-create with your inner goddess, co-create with yourself, like literally co-create with yourself. I use the word goddess because to me, goddess is just a powerful feminine figure. We both have this like goddess element within inside of us. We both have these like amazing gifts. We both have the capacity to nurture ourselves, the capacity to nurture others. We have the capacity to live the life that we desire. It's figuring out which life is right for you. And if your pattern makes no sense, if you have to literally lay every brick as you go, one by one, uniquely different, then do you, boo. I feel like there is so much power in your one true authentic self. Like, nobody in this world is gonna live the life that you live. And I feel like a lot of the times we want to mimic other people, but at the same time, they are not us, we are not them. So be uniquely you and do the things that make you happy. Break the patterns, break the mold, be the one that is the leader in any circumstance of your life, even if it's just your own personal life. Like, I'm gonna lead my life, like become the main character, like they say on TikTok. But really, you are the main character of your life. You are the number one in your life. You are the constant in your life. So own that and lead, allow yourself to lead yourself. Allow yourself to lead yourself, because too many times I found myself personally looking for others for assistance, others to lead. And it wasn't until I became more confident in myself that I was like, you know what? That doesn't work for me. That doesn't make me feel right. I don't agree with that. That I, just started doing my own thing. I love you guys. I am really excited for today. Today is a beautiful day. It is a gorgeous day outside. I want you guys to go out and enjoy your day however you see fit, or stay inside and have a lazy day like me. Like, whichever you want to do, honey, do you. Love you.